Hello and welcome to Mcedam's universe of DVD collecting. Today we will be looking at the comic book movie collection. As you can probably tell, I prefer Marvel over DC in terms of movies. I don't know. I don't think I know much of DC to consider myself a fan, but I know a lot of Marvel, so I keep to like my safe zone, as you can tell. Also, as you can probably tell from here, I've custom made some of the DVD covers because spines really annoy me, and companies should learn this and make matchable spines all the way through, not just halfway and then just give up. Right then, after that rant, sorry about that, people. Let's get started with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. With the first ever movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Iron Man, which is one of my favourite comic book movies of all time. The Incredible Hulk, an underrated classic. The Hulk scenes are freaking gorgeous, but it's not about the Hulk. It's about Bruce Banner and his turmoils and his troubles, which is a story that I really enjoyed. Iron Man 2, or as I like to call it, Sins of the Fathers, because it's all about fathers. I went to see this in the cinema, and it was so disappointing. But now that I watch it, it's all right. It's got some cool moments, like the suit, when he puts on the suit for the first time. And but it's got some stupid moments, like when he's drunk in the party, and it was just, oh God. Thor, which I thought was a great film. Sorry about that. It was okay, I guess. Some people don't like it. I personally love it. It's got like the Shakespearean style of film telling instead of movie collecting, which I thought was really clever to do for a Viking god. Captain America, it was alright. Not one of my favourites. Not the worst either. The Avengers, which is my favourite comic book movie, if not my favourite movie of all time. I absolutely love this movie. It's what got me into Marvel. It's what got me into comic books. It's what got me into everything that I love dear to me at the moment. Hooray. Now, Iron Man 3, or as I like to call it, Extremis. I personally really enjoyed this. I know people hated the twist. The twist is infamous, but I don't know. I kind of enjoyed that film. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. This is only the first disc. As you can probably see from this angle over here, I've split them up into different discs, depending on the disc. So that's how I'm going to do it. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is a great TV show. It's really underrated. The first half of the series, probably this DVD, is not very good, but it gets so much better, and I can't wait for season 2 to come out on DVD. The girl in the flower dress. Sorry about that. Rena. It's the first appearance of Rena in the show. Who becomes way a bigger character in the later seasons. It's good. Thor: The Dark World, as I just called it, The Dark World, or Top The Dark World, if you're from certain countries. I don't know, it's my least favourite of Phase 2, but it is really good. I like how you see the Infinity Stone, but Christopher Eccleston, who, as you know, I love Doctor Who, so you know I love Christopher Eccleston, was so underused, and it was so annoying to see him play this not very interesting villain. Magical Place, which is when we learn about Phil Coulson's origins and how he come back to life. Yes Men, which is the appearance of Sif. I love Sif. I think she's underused in the films, and it's something that Marvel could use when the bigger superheroes don't appear that much. Sif and the Warriors 3, which I really loved. Captain America: The Winter Soldier, or just The Winter Soldier. I like the film, but why is it called The Winter Soldier? He hardly appears in the freaking movie, and the movie's hardly about him. Instead, it's about the war against S.H.I.E.L.D., which I don't know if I'm going to spoil it for you people, because it is one of the greatest twists in Marvel history, and it really affects Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the rest of the Marvel Universe as it goes along. Nothing personal. Great stories. Ragtag, which is the last of the Shields, I think. I really loved the season finale to season 1. My only problem is that how they killed the Clairvoyant, which is the secret baddie at the end, was so disappointing because I really wanted like an epic battle, but we never got that epic battle, I'm afraid. Guardians of the Galaxy, great film. This is the first movie I saw when I knew that from the comic books first, and I read the comic books, as you can probably see in my other collection of comic books. But I really enjoyed this. I really love Ronan, Lee Pace as the villain. My only problem with it is that it takes itself a bit too silly, which I was hoping for an epic, like, Star Wars-like story, but we got like a cheesy, like, comedy instead, which I guess is okay because they needed to target a bigger demographic, but I was really hoping to be like an awesome, epic battle of the whatever, you know what I mean. Right, and now we get to the X-Men franchise with the first X-Men, which I think is underrated. It was praised when it came out. Then, as the years went by, people say it's overrated. Some people say it's outdated. Some people blah blah blah. I don't know. I still really enjoy this one. X-Men 2. I think it's called The Last Stand. Is it the last? Yeah, X-Men 2. No, wait. It's X-Men United. Never mind. It's a bit underrated, a bit overrated in my opinion. People seem to like this one the most, but I think it's a bit overrated. It does drag on a bit, but it's still a great story. X-Men 3, which is actually my favourite of the trilogy, the original trilogy, and it was my favourite for a while. I know people hate this movie, but I got to love it, mainly for the fact that it had balls, it had potential, it was building up to something much bigger, but we never got it, I'm afraid, because we had prequels instead. First Class, it's a great movie which brought us back into the X-Men universe, and we got to see the origins of Charles Xavier and Magneto, which are greatly portrayed by Michael Fassbender and James McAvoy. It doesn't link up well with the rest of the movies, I'm afraid, but I really enjoyed it. The Wolverine, which again is an underrated movie in my opinion. Most people say it's forgettable, but I don't know. I kind of enjoyed it. I like the ninja girl that he hangs around with. I'm sad that she didn't appear in other films, but yeah, Wolverine. I love Wolverine. What's wrong with Wolverine, man? Apart from that one, which we'll get to. X-Men Days of Future Past, which is now my favourite X-Men movie, and I think it is to a lot of people. The story is just amazing. Bryan Singer came back. Bryan Singer just owns the X-Men franchise now. I can't wait for Apocalypse. My only problem is that it focuses too much on Wolverine, which is a franchise which is going to lose him soon, I'm afraid. It's a bit like, come on, man, give us something new so we can move on already. Spider-Man 1 of the Sam Raimi trilogy. I think it's a bit overrated. I'm not really fussed. I hate Tobey Maguire, I'm sorry to say. He's not a good actor, at least for Spider-Man, or at least I've seen him. It plays itself really cheesy, a bit too cheesy to take seriously, which one of Spider-Man's first thing is that he's relatable, but I can't relate to this at all. Yeah. Spider-Man 2, again, I think it's a bit overrated. But it's still a great story, and I love the fight scenes. The fight scenes in here have definitely improved. But if you take away the fight scenes and the villain, which is a brilliant portrayal of Dr. Octopus, I don't know. It just seemed like another too cheesy to take seriously story. Spider-Man 3. I kind of like Spider-Man 3 because it kind of like embrace the fact that it's cheesy instead of the other two, which kind of like was embarrassed to be cheesy, but it was trying to be cheesy as well. But this one just embraced the cheesiness. Okay, it had some stupid moments, like Harry turning back into evil, and Venom was so underused. But oh my god, Sandman was such a great villain, and it's the first one I really cared about Peter Parker because they knew that he's cheesy, so they gave him more of a cheesy like storyline. So yeah, Amazing Spider-Man 1. I thought it was a great film. I don't know what. Okay, it has some problems. The villain is terrible, but Andrew Garfield and M. Stone are so adorable, and I'm so sad to see that they're not coming back. But you know, it's for the greater good because they're coming back in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Hooray! Amazing Spider-Man 2. I personally liked the first one over this one. But unlike most people, I do actually really enjoy the story. I actually do like James Fox as Electro. My favourite scene, of course, in any Spider-Man movie is when he's talking about his birthday and he sees Spider-Man, he gets a kick, he goes, Spider-Man, you remembered my birthday? Yeah, I'm not fussed on this costume because it looks really like it wasn't professionally made, which is kind of odd because in the first one they made the costume look like a Hollywood blockbuster, but this looks like just somebody cosplaying, which I don't mind if that was the first version that they did, but because it's the second one they did in this franchise, in the Amazing franchise, it kind of seemed really odd that Peter would make this one and prefer this one over to the more cooler looking one, in my opinion. Blade, which is the first blockbuster Marvel movie. I kind of enjoyed it. It's a bit dated, of course. I mean, it's vampires in the 90s with a vampire hunter. It's going to be dated. Let's be honest, people. Let's not try and hide the fact that it's dated. It's dated. Blade 2, which is considered a classic. I wouldn't say it's a classic in my opinion, but it is still a great story. We don't talk about this one. The Punisher. I love this film. John Travolta was a great villain, surprisingly enough, not like in Battlefield Earth, where he was so goddamn cheesy you could almost eat his face. But, yeah, I really enjoyed this version of The Punisher, and I was really glad to see him in that short film that he did, which was classic. Punisher Warzone. The villain was so cheesy, which I don't mind. He was a great villain. It didn't match up to the rest of the movie. It seemed like a cartoon compared to the rest of the movie, which was trying to be so goddamn realistic that it just didn't work in terms of building a story and build it in a narrative. Narrative. There you go. Ghost Rider, hilariously bad. Nicolas Cage, man. Need I say more? Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance. I kind of enjoyed this one. Generally enjoyed this one. I think it's what Ghost Rider should have been. Like really cheap action, weird, independent type of filmmaking style. But it was a bit weird to go from this cheesy like blockbuster to like this cheap version, which I kind of prefer, but it was a bit off-putting to see underneath. Fantastic Four. I kind of really enjoyed this one. I liked Fantastic Four. Most people complain that they don't do anything, but that's the thing about the Fantastic Four. They're not superheroes, they're people, and that's their stories. It's about them dealing with superpowers in a normal world. And I don't know, I kind of enjoyed this one. But there is no defending this movie. Oh God, this movie. Not the worst Marvel movie. That goes to Blade Trinity by far. But oh God, was this painful to watch. What the hell did they do to you, Fantastic Four? I used to love you people. Now this is X-Men's Origins Wolverine. But because I kind of took the piss out of the movie like most people did, It's now Origins Mr. Wolverine, featuring the Human Jack, which is a character me and my friend made. Well, I didn't make him. My friend made him, and I kind of like helped him along with the stories. I don't know. I kind of enjoyed the story, but yeah, it did have a lot of problems. My main problem is the gun guy, and he dies, and then they decide to use a gun-themed weapon to destroy the Wolverine, which is the only one they know that can defeat the Wolverine, which is so goddamn stupid. Oh well. Daredevil, as I like to call him, Ben Affleck. Need I say more? I don't know. I kind of enjoyed Ben Affleck as Daredevil, but the story was just so stupid. And every time Elektra was on it, she was like the worst thing about this movie because she had like no likability, no characterization. She just seemed to be like a pretty face, which is only there for the booty. But yeah, for some reason they thought it was a good idea to make a movie about Elektra. Why? It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I kind of liked that they went for a more like mutant themed, which kind of made it really weird compared to the Daredevil, which had mainly human villains, and then we gone from that from like magic based. But why Elektra? She was the worst thing about Daredevil. Nobody went out that cinema and went, Elektra was the greatest thing about that movie. Oh, and that was like this is like the first female Marvel movie, and we got this? Why? Oh well. Hulk, the Ang Lee Hulk, which is really boring, but I gotta say, I gotta like it, mainly for the fact it's a guilty pleasure. I grew up as a child. I think it might have been the first Marvel movie I ever watched, and it was the thing that got me into the Hulk when I was a kid. Though I was a stupid kid back then, as you can see. So, yeah, I kind of enjoyed that one, mainly for the fact that I grew up with it. Kick-Ass, great film. I love this film. I do agree on most people that it takes itself a bit seriously at the end, but it was great. I like that. I kind of like that because it just kind of put the action first in terms of thing, and it was a really stupid movie because it was trying to be stupid. But that was the point. The point is that superheroes are stupid and we should not take them seriously, otherwise we can become this dick. And then we had Kick-Ass 2, which was a bit of a disappointment, but it was still a good film. I don't think they're going to make a Kick-Ass 3, because if the trend is the same, we're going to get and then probably like the worst one ever, but there you go. Men in Black, yes, I'm just shocked myself to find out this is a comic book movie. Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones are great as the agents in black. I really love this film franchise. I don't think they have a bad movie yet. But I will say that this one feels a bit dated. It feels like it's so 90s, but oh well. I guess that's Will Smith's humour. Will Smith lives on the fact that people love the 90s, and he glorifies that like hell. Ooh, hold on, where am I? There I am. 1989's Batman, which is a classic film, and if you want to see some golden age of movie making, this is the film you need to watch, even though it's from the 80s, but, you know. Batman Returns. I kind of enjoyed this one. Again, my problem is, of course, is that it doesn't focus on Batman, which I think a lot of people on it, but it focuses on the villains, which I thought was a cool way, especially how Batman has the greatest villains in comic book history. The Penguin was a bit a weird thing because they changed his character a lot from this greedy businessman to this monster that lived in the sewers and thought he was an actual penguin or something. I don't know. Got really confusing, but lots of people consider that a classic penguin, which is because of this movie, by the way. Penguins before were always business, human-like men who were greedy. So yeah, it brought a new generation of Batman fans into this. But to me, it can't beat the original, but it was still a great movie. Superman, I love Superman. I couldn't stand Man of Steel. I'm sorry, I gotta say, Not for the problems that most people come out, because the problems in that movie are about characters, but people complain about the neck breaking and the deaths, which are stupid complaints because they were actually meaningful into the story. It was Superman's arc that was terrible about Man of Steel, but I'm getting off track myself. Man of Steel, not Man of Steel, what am I about? Superman Returns. What am I on about? Superman the movie. Sorry about that. Is one of the greatest movies in my opinion. I wouldn't consider it a classic. I mean, it is a bit outdated, but it's my favorite DC movie at the moment. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's equal to the original Batman movie, but I don't know. I really enjoyed this movie, and it's one of my favorite movies of all time. Catwoman, it's so goddamn stupid, but that's why I love this film. The cop was so stupid. I love the cop in this because he's so stupid. I don't think I would even bother with this movie if it wasn't for the fact that it was so stupid. And Halle Berry's costume, I mean, it looks like sick, but what the hell? They must have, like, known that was, like, incredibly, like, stupid and sexist, but that's why I love this movie. It's so stupid that you just gotta love it. Oh no, wait, that is Catwoman. Hellboy, underrated comic book movie. Del Toro, man. Everybody loves a bit of Del Toro. He made one of the greatest comic book movies and one of the greatest comic book sequels, The Golden Army, which I went to see in the cinema, and I never regretted it. It was one of the most enjoyable moments I had in a cinema ever. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. The first time I watched this movie, I couldn't stand it. It made me feel sick. But now that I've gotten into more independent filmmaking things and seen more weird stories, I gotta be honest, it's really bland. But the fight scenes are freaking amazing. But I don't know. I don't like this movie as much. I'm sorry, because I know a lot of my friends are big Scott Pilgrim nuts, but I gotta say that I'm not a fan. Hancock, Will Smith. Some people love this movie, some people hate it. I can see the love, I can see the hate, but I don't know. I would say I enjoyed it. I think it was just taking the mick at the superhero movies and how many there were at the time. So I guess that was the point, but there you go. And my last one is Wanted, which, if you're a comic book fan, there's a scene in it you gotta see with Jim McAvoy and Star-Lord himself, Chris Pine. Can't even pronounce his name. Fallon. It is so stupid. I mean, they predict the world by weaving. What the hell? People, this is a stupid, stupid movie. But it's, I don't know, if you want an action movie, it's a great action movie. I mean, the action scenes are phenomenal. And you can just watch the behind the scenes on how they did the action scenes and you would be inspired. But into the story, oh my god, it's some of the worst story I've ever seen in a movie, but that's because it focused so much on the action scenes that they couldn't really give it two shits about the story. But, yeah. I don't know if I like this or not. It's got some great filmmaking potential, but the story really lets it down. And that is my entire comic book movie collection. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you all later.